Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are looking at the 2022/2023 Trek Domane AL5. We're going to look at the specs/features of this bike. We're going to find out who this bike is for. We're going to find out what it weighs. And lastly, we're going to find out the answer to the question, should you buy this bike? So let's hop right into it. The Trek Domane AL5 is a aluminum frame bike with a carbon fiber fork. The spec number on Trek bikes indicates the component level. So in this case, this is a 5, which means that the bike comes fully equipped with Shimano 105 drivetrain components. The 105 is an excellent group set. In this particular case, we're running a 2x in the front and an 11-speed in the back. We have disc brakes, and not only do we get disc brakes, but these are hydraulic disc brakes, which not to be confused with mechanical disc brakes. Hydraulic disc brakes are very good. These are very well performing brakes. If we move up top here now, the tires are going to be the Bontrager R1 tires. These are 32mm stock, but you can run up to a 35mm tire without fenders. These particular tires, max PSI is 70. I usually run these at 60. So not going to be the fastest tires in the market, but they are very, very comfortable. Coming up top here then, the saddle is going to be your standard Bontrager P3 Verse saddle. This saddle combined with this geometry is a very, very comfortable setup. I've done tons of miles on this very bike, and without even wearing any padded shorts or any kind of bike jersey at all, I am able to ride this bike several miles with no pain, no discomfort at all. Lots of places to mount all kinds of stuff on this bike. We have the 2 spots for water bottle cages. We have some mounts on the top tube for a bento box. And then we have some additional mounts down here for anything you want to put on the bottom tube. So lots of options for mounting. Now I gotta say too, I really, really like the paint job on this bike. I think Trek in general has the best paint jobs in the industry. I think they really do a good job with the way they make their bikes look. Not only the paint job, but if we look at the cabling as well, one thing I really like to see on modern bikes, which Trek is doing this on almost all of their road bikes nowadays, they route the cables through the tubing of the bike. So you only see the cables at the very front, and sometimes they even route them through the stem or directly underneath the stem. In this case, we do see a little bit of cabling, but for the most part, it goes through the tubes, and that just makes for a very clean looking bike. When you combine that with an awesome paint job, not to mention even things as small as the logo. I think Trek has a really awesome logo. I think they paint it on their bikes very cleanly. It looks very nice. I think this is an awesome looking bike. Not to be vain, but when we're spending this kind of money on bikes, we want it to go as far as we can. So the bike is very comfortable, and I think it looks really, really awesome. So then, who is this bike for? Well, as I said, this bike is for those of us who want to go long days in the saddle with little to no pain at all. Having said that, understand this is not going to be a fast bike. You're not going to be racing on this bike. Even keeping up on group rides with people who have lightweight road bikes is probably going to be a challenge with a bike like this, because it's just going to be a slower bike. But that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you want a slower bike just to enjoy trails, to enjoy rougher roads, that kind of thing. And that's really who this bike is for. If you're going to be doing lots of trail riding on questionable surfaces, or riding through roads that might be a little more bumpy, or just you want to have fun long days in the saddle, this is going to be a great bike for that. It's an adventure bike. Really, it's meant to go on adventures, to have fun. If you have kids you're taking along with you, this is going to be an excellent option. Again, having said that, this is not a race bike, so don't think you're going to be winning races on this. Don't think you're going to be going super fast on this. It's not meant for that, but that's okay. And sometimes it's even nice to train if you are a racer or someone who does have a race bike. Sometimes it is nice to train on heavier, slower bikes like this, because then when you do ride your race bike, you're even that much faster. great bike for trail riding, for endurance rides, long days in the saddle, but don't expect to have a lot of speed on a bike like this. It's not necessarily meant for that. So let's check what it weighs. Let's hop in the garage and we'll come right back. All right guys, I hopped in the garage here, so let's check it out. Trek Domane AL5 2023 comes in at 23.52 pounds. Now granted, that is with the reflectors, the Garmin mounts, all those other reflector things, and even the tag. So, and some pretty heavy pedals. You could definitely shave a pound off this easily. I mean, just take all the reflectors off alone, and then you could put in some lightweight inner tubes, lightweight tires. Those are relatively cheap upgrades that could easily bring this down another pound, maybe even a pound and a half if you replace the saddle with something a little bit lighter. Okay, so now to answer the age-old question, should you buy this bike? Well guys, in my humble opinion, the answer is no. And let me explain what I mean by that. For the price of $2,100, I don't think this bike is neither here nor there. Let's hop on the computer and I'm going to quickly explain what I mean. All right guys, so we're here on the Trek website and I just wanted to show you where I think your money is probably best spent. So we're looking at the Domane AL5 disc. This is the bike we just looked at. I don't think this is going to be worth your money because I think your money is probably better spent going with the AL4. And the reason I say that is because with the AL4, you're getting the Tiagra group set, so it's not going to be 105, but it's pretty much just as good, all things considered, and you're still getting disc brakes and you're still getting hydraulic disc brakes. So I really don't think you're going to notice any kind of performance difference with this bike versus the AL5, and it's a savings of about $400. So I think that your money is just better spent with this. There is going to be a little bit of a weight penalty. This one may end up weighing about half a pound more, but you know, again, for who this bike is targeting, people who want to go long distances in comfort, I think it's totally fine. I don't think weight is going to be a very big deal in that kind of use case. If you're racing and you're racing uphill, that kind of thing, and you need to keep up with just top level athletes, sure, every gram matters. But I think for who this bike is for, I think the Domane AL4 disc is going to be the sweet spot with value and performance and specs. And guys, before we close out this video, I did just want to do a quick comparison between the Trek Domane AL5 and another popular Trek bike, the FX Sport 4. So a lot of you might be wondering which between these two is the more comfortable bike, which one is the better endurance bike, which one's the better bang for buck value. Now, my personal opinion after taking both of these bikes on several mile rides is that the more comfortable of the two bikes is going to be the Trek Domane AL5. The main reason is because of the drop bars. I think that the drop bars make a big difference because you have a variety of different positions you can get in over a long-term period. With the flat bars, I would say this bike is more comfortable for very short rides, for the initial part of a ride. But after a while, you're probably going to find yourself wanting to get in a different position with the flat bars. And because you can't really do that, you're kind of stuck in one position the whole time. I'd say you're probably going to get more fatigued on this bike over the long haul than you would on the Trek Domane AL5. That being said, this is a cheaper bike. This retails for about $1,700 and it is fully carbon fiber. Check out my first initial impressions review video up here at the top right. But I think for the long term, you're going to want probably something like this if you plan on doing 100-mile rides. Also, with the drop bars, you can get more aero, so you'll probably go a little faster. And the power output, I think, is just going to be stronger on this bike because you can just get more aggressive and in a more competitive position. Having said that, let me know if you guys want to see me convert this bike to a drop bar bike. If I get 100 subscribers, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a drop bar on this bike and I'm going to replace those tires with quick road tires and the inner tubes with latex inner tubes. And I'm going to see what this bike can do. but I'm only gonna do that if I get 100 subscribers. So let's get to 100 subscribers, and I'm gonna convert this bike to the closest thing I can to a road bike, and then we're gonna see how it compares to the AL5 in that case. So let me know. That's the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.